Does network security pay more
Yes.
than networking?
Hands
and
down.
why do you think that is?
I don't know. That's the crazy thing about it. Well, first of all, it is my opinion, but networking in general, I feel is underpaid for how important it is, because you can't do your job. Nobody can do their job
Right.
without networking. It is legitimately the backbone of any
Everything.
job. In every job, you can't call anybody, you can't get the internet, you can't do anything without networking.
This video will be sponsored by SNHU. So it's 2025 and cybersecurity is still all the rage. Breaches are at an all-time high and so are cyber salaries. But there's a problem you keep running into. Cyber jobs you want to land are requiring a degree and you don't have one. Let me introduce you to today's sponsor, Southern New Hampshire University, SNHU. SNHU has a flexible online program that also touts one of the lowest tuitions in the country. SNHU is an affordable, accredited nonprofit university that has dedicated career advisors, webinars, internships, and more to prepare you to enter or advance in the workforce. There's a 32% projected growth of information security analyst roles through 2032, and according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the median security analyst salary in 2023 was $120,000. In SNHU's program, you can learn about these critical subjects: cybersecurity foundations, networking, incident response, risk management, enterprise security, and more. As a cybersecurity professional, these are all important courses. If you would like to know more about SNHU's program, then please visit snhu.edu/textual or click the link below in the description. Welcome back to the TechTual Talk podcast. I'm your host, HD, and we got a return guest for you guys, none other than Certified Curls, aka, for y'all that know her, she is the lady engineer. And she decided to stop by tonight. They got a lot of stuff going on in downtown Dallas. We've been kicking it, but for those of y'all that are not familiar with her, y'all like her. But first things first, if you're listening to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, you know what to do. Follow the podcast, leave us a review, help us out in the podcast analytics. And if you're watching right now, just hit the like button. And if you really like the content, subscribe to the Patreon. But Lise, it's been close to
Couple years.
3-4 years since you was actually, well, technically our episode. You've been on
Yeah.
panels before from time to time, but it's been a while.
It's been a hot minute.
And I think the last time I actually seen you was at Penstack.
Penstack, yep.
And that was, what, 2 years ago, I
That
think.
was about 2 years ago.
Man,
It's been a minute.
It was. Because, see, the last year we all met up at Putt Shack.
Oh,
in
the
Addison.
putt thing. Okay.
But I want to try a puttery.
Oh, it's good.
I
I
then
went
they
there
be
at the
saying, like-
Colony.
Yeah, then they be doing like
Yes, it's
puttery
good.
R&B
It's
nights
good.
and stuff there too.
I don't know, when we went, it's vibe. It's vibe. I like it.
Yeah, I want to try.
I'm definitely going back. Definitely
for
going
sure.
back.
But now, guys, she had an iconic first episode with us. We're going to try to see if we can top that. But for the people who don't know who you are, can you explain who is Lise, or, as I said earlier, what's been going on with Lise?
Yes, I can. My name is Lise, otherwise known as Certified Curls, online and on YouTube as well. I am a network engineer by trade, and I recently just transitioned to the network security side of things. So that's why I'm here to talk about as well that side. But yes, I have about, at this point, over a decade of networking experience. I started in the military. That's where I got my experience, and just been working private ever since I got out.
I'm glad you said that, because there's a lot of allure over working in the public sector.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of allure. And even my homie, we talk about this all the time about, like, you know, gov tech and everything else. Like, though it's pretty stable, I could see pros and cons in both,
It is.
depending on who you work for and where you work for.
is.
But a lot of times, you didn't work with them. I didn't work with these people. Them people ain't doing no work.
It's a different side of things from the military side, the GS employee side, and the contractor side.
The contractors do more work than GS
The
people.
contractors do way more work than the civilian side, but I think that's a well-known kind of.
I don't think for
thing.
everybody, you know, people, they don't know. Because think about it, a lot of those, the government don't really change technology that much. So what I've been saying in past episodes was how, you know, everybody was getting their pennies in a bunch about all the stuff for return to office for government workers and having to get into the job search. I was like, well, someone's going to be at a deficit, because They don't know none of this new stuff that's been on the market. However, if you still understand the concepts behind them, you'll be straight.
Yes. So there's no money, and I'm gonna say it with the quotes, no money in the government. So that's why pretty much everything you work on is legacy. I worked on way stuff that, what, 3 years of my career I worked on equipment that was not even used anywhere else but on a deployment, like on a deployed field out in the desert. We actually had to cannibalize a lot of our equipment because we couldn't get new stuff. It was, hey, keep all your old equipment and take some parts from that old equipment and fix this equipment that we currently got because they don't have any money to give us for anything new. That was most of my job in the military, anyways.
Crazy. Now, I do need to ask, and it's gonna sound like a silly question. What is the difference between working networking and then doing network security?
So the difference between working networking is, I would say, heavily built on the actual infrastructure. So if you're working, depending on if you're working smaller companies or a company that's operating out of a specific data center, which most of everybody's working out of some type of data center. But so you're working actually with infrastructure and building that infrastructure and maintaining it. Network security, at least in my side of network security, where I'm looking at, you obviously need to have a security background, not as in depth as the full, incidents or cyber or response or anything like that. I don't have to deal with that. But when you're dealing with network security, that's dealing with your VPNs, that's dealing with your firewalls, that's dealing with any type of access control that's going on to the actual network.
Okay.
So, or certificates, SSL, anything that has to deal with actually securing the actual network infrastructure itself. That's the main difference between it. And less hands-on, I would say, for sure.
Now, do you also deal like with the WAFs and stuff like that?
We do. So web application
Firewall.
firewalls. It, we have one. I can't speak to them. That is on a, obviously when it comes to dealing anything with the application side of things, I have
Okay.
very minimal knowledge on. But yes, WAFs are
Okay.
definitely
No, I was going
a
to
part
ask
of
because,
it.
like, for us, when it's anything dealing with our WAF, we call like the perimeter defense team, and they're
Correct.
typically like
Yeah.
the networking, but those
Definitely.
guys. And
Yeah, for sure.
like you learn like a lot of stuff like that you can do application side with the WAF. Like we use one of the popular services. They pretty much monitor everything, and they'll send us things and say, "Hey, we see a spike in traffic, yada yada yada. We're gonna look at it first, and then everything y'all need to look into it, and y'all look into it more." So like, occasionally we do go into the WAF and look at stuff, and we find out like a lot of times for us the biggest things like bots.
Yeah.
So people using bots and trying to shut down a network, and then they use like certain things that'll be from like a certain region, and they'll have a certain category of what they're trying to do, and so learn different ways. Like, oh, hey, you can block somebody by the ASN, and then you can specify for this region. Oh, okay, cool.
And that works the same actually with just regular like next gen firewalls. They can do the same thing. Categorize. You can block by regions. You can block by, like, usually there's a standard block list. Like you got North Korea, you got Russia, you got
Yeah.
China. Like these are all kind of the standards that you would add.
Countries of interest.
Yeah, countries of interest. That's typical. So that you could do that as well if you didn't know.
Yeah, and recruiters on LinkedIn. Just because somebody say in Dallas Fort Worth, don't mean they stay by Fort Worth. You got to realize they not by each other.
It's the largest metroplex in the entire U.S. It's large.
When I tell you, like they'll be reaching out to me, hey, you want to do 3-4 days working and going to Westlake? No, I don't. Stop calling me about this. It's not worth my time or money. No, make it remote. I said I stay here.
That was a job that I got offered, was kind of like that. The job was actually local to where I live, actually. And that's why I applied for that job, because it was local to my area. I got through the interview process. They offered me the role. Like, I was like, oh, yeah. And then they came out and they were like, yeah, so we know that the job is here, but you need to come out, drive to Fort Worth for 4 months, like 5 days for 4 months for training. And I was like, I'm not doing that. I can't do that. Like, I did not apply for this job to drive to Fort Worth. That's wild. I am not doing that. They're like, oh, well, you could do that. It's only just for training. No. So then why did you advertise it to be for this area? Well, we needed somebody there.
Right.
Oh, my God.
Speaking of that, that actually segue into like, how has your networking career been since you've been in DFW? For those of you that don't know, actually, I didn't really want to go into content creation to the end, but kind of connects. Because like, I want to say, is that around the time you were getting out the military?
Yes.
Yeah, so it was like around the time you were getting out the military and you made all this content. And you was like, yeah, I don't know if that first video, if you're already out here, but I know you're saying I'm getting ready to move to Dallas. And it's funny how the algorithm worked. Like, it seemed like everybody started their channels around the same time. It was COVID, ain't nobody had nothing to do.
So I started mine pre-COVID, before I came out to Dallas. COVID started my first year living in Dallas, which was interesting, very much interesting. No, was it the first? Yeah, 2020. COVID started
2020.
Yep, my first year then, because I moved out here, I think in 2019.
Okay.
Or 2018. One of the two. Honestly, I can't remember.
Probably was, might have been 2019.
It might have been 2019.
Dang, if it was, you missed like the best year in Dallas was like 2019.
Really? I moved at the end of 2019.
Okay,
October,
never mind.
October.
It was like over then. Like the beginning of the summer to like the end of it is like we had this group out here called You in Dallas, and it was a Slack group, so everybody was in Slack. Like it got so big to where, shout out to More in Dallas, by the way. It started breaking out by sections. So everybody who stayed in North Dallas, like the Frisco, Plano, Carrollton, all that, we had our own group. So we was putting our own moves together. Like everybody's going like to Top Golf and the Colony.
So COVID pretty much ruined it.
Yeah.
Okay.
We was going to certain people like they said apartment, like, hey, I got my like the event space like in your apartment. Like we was like meeting up there.
Okay,
we was like grilling, swimming pools, karaoke nights.
Yeah.
Like it was fun, and everybody was like professionals.
So I did miss out on the fun.
Yeah, because like a lot of people was moving, and they was like, okay, what's to do? And he put that together, and it like perfect. I met like all type of people like that summer.
Damn. No,
The last great summer, the last kidless summer. That's why I said that too.
The last kidless summer. That's funny. When I moved, we actually lived in Dallas, like not North Dallas, but the actually North Dallas, not Frisco, Plano, actually North Dallas, like off 635 North Dallas.
Okay.
When we moved out here, I had no complaints about it. I liked it. It was close to everything.
So was you like close to like Addison or whatever?
Yes. Yep. What's that street? Churchill and 635.
Okay, I know.
That was the apartment that when we first moved out here, that's where we lived out. So we was like, Addison was right here. We could have drove to the city over here. Like we was, bam, smack dab in the middle.
That's what I like about it. That's why I want to have eventually like my studio space. I want it to be in Addison. I feel like it's centralized.
Yeah.
It's a lot of eating spaces, a lot of stuff to do.
A lot of food. And Beltline right there.
Yep.
All the food.
We can go to Village on the Parkway, shoot AMC, Pluckers, Yard House, Sidecar,
all the
Stir.
Food. Everything is in Addison.
Either that or Frisco. But how has it been? Like, I know you documented it, you'll go on your hiatuses, but how has networking took off for you since you've been the big D?
So I would say I have had actually located in Dallas since I moved out here. 3 of my jobs, most of my jobs, pretty much have all been centralized in Dallas. This was pre-COVID. I had, a job out in Dallas at a FANG, and then I worked at Microsoft. Then I got another job with, they were all over the U.S., but headquartered here. Corporate was here in Dallas. Okay. And then they moved to another city towards the end of when I left or whatever. And then that was I would say that job was most of my documenting my journey through networking was with that job. And then I left that job, and everything kind of just was remote after that because of COVID. And it was, I was interviewing constantly. I was getting job offers. Sometimes I wouldn't, but I would say the opportunities for sure. I would say that's why we picked Dallas, was for the opportunities to work
Yeah.
that we had out here. Outside, and it was the DMV, obviously, but I don't like the cold. I don't want to deal with that. Cost of living, no, I didn't want to deal with the DMV, so we picked
And you
Dallas.
probably gonna be back in the public sector back too.
Like moving to DMV, using my clearance and everything. Yeah, I probably would have stayed in the government space for sure if we moved to the DMV. But no, out here, it's not that big of a government like footprint here. You
Yeah.
got what? You got Raytheon. You got the smallest Boeing building ever.
Boeing,
You got Lockheed.
Um,
And you got some other like companies that work with the government agencies,
Right.
but they're not the government contractors.
back in that day, so they used to have CSC in Fort Worth.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, that moved to Bossier City,
Mm-hmm.
at least that part of it. And then, of course, GDIT took over that.
Yeah.
I also want to ask, is there not a dip? I know it's a difference in pay for you now, but does network security pay more
Yes.
than networking?
Yes. Hands
And-
down. Hands down.
Okay.
It was night and day.
Night and day? Why do you think that is?
I don't know. That's the crazy thing about it. Well, first of all, it is my opinion, but networking in general, I feel is a underpaid industry. It is underpaid for how important it is,
I agree.
because you can't do your job. Nobody can do their job
Right.
without networking. It is legitimately the backbone of any
Everything.
job. In every job, you can't call anybody, you can't get the internet, you can't do anything without networking. But we're underpaid in the sense of, cybersecurity, from what I know and from jobs and stuff, that when I looked at what they're offering for like working at a SOC versus working at a NOC, that's like the comparison that you could do between the two. So working in a NOC, I would say the average is you're definitely making less than $20 an hour.
Yeah. When I
And-
started working out, it was like $50K.
It's crazy. It's the pay disparity is ridiculous.
But I will say,
I'm not saying that
No, no,
security
I
is
ain't-
better
I'm not-
either.
I'm not a like, this is better than this.
Yeah.
Every need, it's like, I look at all this stuff like football. Everybody got to play their part. But like, I would say most knocks don't do no work. Most, the really good knocks, they have people
I
that
think
do
it
stuff.
depends on what company you're working.
That's what I'm
for.
saying.
Yeah.
But for most people, like I've either talked to when it came to consults or anything, they weren't doing much in the knock. But if you get to a knock where you actually doing networking stuff,
Yeah.
they most of the times are taking advantage of you and not calling you like a network admin or engineer and throwing knock on your title so they can pay you less.
Yeah. So any of the knocks that I worked at, I didn't have knock in my name, but it was. But I can't say that I have ever worked in a knock as like tier 1. I never worked at a knock at tier 1. And I always came in as tier 2, but because I had experience prior.
Yeah.
But so I can't speak for the tier 1 side of things, but I know in any knocks that I work, no, we worked, but it's ticket roulette. It's
Yeah.
tickets.
Ours was different though, like-
tickets.
I found out I was in like, it took me years to realize, hey, I was working in PCI DSS. But we didn't have tier 1, tier 2. It was just all us knocks, and then we had my supervisor, Jesse, who pretty much was doing everything with Splunk. Like, that's how I got introduced to Splunk. But all we really used it for was monitoring if transactions went down. That's when we like ran incidents and like kind of did stuff. But like, we used stuff like What's Up Gold, and like we could log into like Barracuda Web. Like, we had these checks to do, but we wasn't doing much. That's the reason why I used to do all type of stuff you're not
Yeah.
supposed to do when you work in a weekend job. Inviting people to come up there, walking around the Galleria and saying, hey, I'm good. So if page duty go off, I'll just accept it and drive back to the office because it was like 5 minutes away from Galleria. So that's what like pushed me to go to get my master's. I was like, bro, I'm waking up foregoing a social life sometimes because I knew I had to be at work for 7 a.m. on Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, okay. Okay,
And at
yeah.
that time I was staying in Little Elm, so I
Yeah.
was like, bro, this ain't it, bro. This ain't it.
Said no.
But I said, you know what? I moved out here. It's gonna work out, and it did work out. Um, Now, to spin it real quick, I got this thing that I put on here, this or that tech edition.
Mm.
And we got a couple of questions on here, rapid fire.
Okay.
Working on site or remote work?
There's no hybrid option? No. For me right now, where I'm at, remote.
Hmm.
Definitely.
I mean, I think I can include hybrid in on site.
Okay.
I was gonna say 5 days a week.
Okay. Me personally, remote for my job now.
Okay. All right. iOS or Android?
Android. I'm forever Android.
I like that. I don't even know why I got my iPhone. Like I pay for
Probably
it and I don't
for
use it.
business, TikTok.
Kinda, but I don't even use it.
Yo, you don't even use it?
Nah, I was just like, bro, I should just cancel it because I really don't use it.
No,
It had its perks, but now that RCS has been implemented, it's
yeah,
kind of ain't
it
really,
don't.
like, and that's what I was trying to push for people to do for the longest because they were trying to clown you for your messages. I'm like, man, it ain't my fault. Like Apple want people to get the phones,
Yeah,
but they
I
had
never
to go
did.
ahead and like agree to succumb to the power. Like,
Oh, I said you could be my friend or not. I don't care. You gonna see my green bubbles.
I think this is a cool one for you: cloud or on-prem, or should we say both?
Both. Definitely both. For sure.
I think you added this one right here.
Did I add one?
MFA authenticator apps or YubiKey.
Oh, I didn't add that.
Maybe I did.
Yeah, I didn't modify that at all.
I thought I took.
Yeah, you
I
had
don't
that.
remember that out.
So you said
But yeah, authenticator apps are YubiKeys or RSA tokens.
See, that's an interesting one. I'm gonna tell you why it's interesting. Working in both the public sector and the private sector is vastly different.
Facts.
So I've worked with both physical, like RSA tokens and everything like that, and of course software. I have never, ever, ever had a physical token outside of the government. In the
Facts.
government, I have always had
The little
a physical
RSA token?
the RSA token. But you got to think about it. We're in cleared spaces. We're working in classified areas. You can't have your phone. So the only thing that you can have is your physical token.
Yeah.
But outside of the government, if we're just working with where most people work, which is just in the private sector, probably MFA, just regular software on your phone because it's easier to deal with. It's cheaper.
You know what? I agree. Except now the fact that we got to log into so much stuff, I'd rather go back to something solid. Because the way that a lot of times they breach companies is they'll hit somebody with MFA fatigue. So if they got all the information, they just keep on doing pushes.
And that's where pros and cons to both because you're susceptible when it comes to that. Mm-hmm. You know, when you're having it on your phone, you could any type of attacks you're susceptible for it versus the RSA token, you're not. But you could lose it.
Right.
And you always got your phone on you.
They be like, hey, I left my token at home.
Yeah.
What's the process? Or between that and you know what? I got one. That's a segue into that. Smart card or no smart card, or as you call it, cat card, no cat card.
Smart card. I'm gonna say smart card, definitely. If we're talking like security purposes, smart card.
Yeah,
definitely.
They didn't let me keep mine.
No.
We used to have like a policy like people. The thing was, it was funny. Like in TSA. Mm. They had the migration. Okay, everybody can use your smart cards, but we call them PIV cards.
Yeah, the PIVs. Yeah. The
people wasn't used to it, so they always leave them at home.
Yeah.
And the only way you could relax the policy on the machine was like, hey, your manager got to agree that it's you who's trying to do this, and that's what we had to do for that stuff. So it was like a Gotti's call every day from New Orleans airport. I want to say it's like MSY. He had the coolest name. And we just knew it's the point where everybody would get him like one day in the morning, like 4 or 5. Mm-hmm. And we're like, Mr. Saswayo's on the phone. Go ahead and handle him until he finally like stopped forgetting his PIV card.
You got to have consequences.
Okay. Mac or Windows?
Windows.
I'm surprised, really?
Well, I don't have Apple products. There's no real point for me to have Mac.
So you prejudiced.
Call me prejudiced. I like what I know what I like what I'm comfortable with. I have a MacBook. I never use it.
Really?
Never use it. I had the option at my last job. They gave you could pick between if you wanted a Windows or a Mac. And so for me, I picked Windows.
I got a corny dad joke, and I thought it through my head, but it's not gonna land. But I thought about being cheesy and funny, because I was trying to think of a way. I got both, so you know, typically you say somebody say they like both, they buy. So I was like, I guess I'm bios.
There's a new slapper right there.
That's something like I thought of that. You know, so I'm using it on the dad joke thing. Like, hey, what do you call a person that like both operating
You got the
systems?
daddy hat too.
Bios. That might be a commercial. I already know what you're gonna say on this one. So
Okay.
I'm gonna switch it up because that's gonna make it too easy for you.
Okay.
Samsung or Google?
Okay. I'm say old Google. I would have said Google because I really liked my Pixels.
I like new Google.
I haven't the last Pixel I had was the 6,
I got the 9 right now.
and it was trash. I was so mad. But you got the 9. So right now I got the S24. I went back. I had Pixel all the way up until the 6, and then I swapped because I was Samsung. I was like, oh, I love Samsung. Then I got Google, and I was like, oh, I like Google better. And then Google, they messed me up with the 6.
See,
They did.
I like them all because the thing that sucked about Samsung is they took RCS away from like Samsung messages for that reason. So you got to use Google messages. But I've had them all. I had the first Droid, then I had the Thunderbolt HTC. So I had 2 HTC devices.
Oh, I love the
I've had Samsung devices. Then I went to the Pixels. I had the first ever Pixel. I've had like 3 Pixels. And of course, an iPhone. And for me, I like the Pixel because it reminds me of an iPhone, not in the sense of feature-wise, but I know I'm going to get the updates, and it just
You're
works.
first with the updates, too.
Samsung is great, but it's also like that luxury car you get that's fire when you get it, and then everything start breaking, and you go in to get it fixed. Hey, you know you can get a lot of money for this car right here, and you go ahead and get the newest model. That's what Samsung remind me of, because like
yeah, you know what? I kept my Pixel phone longer than I said I would keep a Samsung phone.
like that Samsung, it be fire, it be doing a lot of stuff, but you're like, man, it want to freeze on me now. But I used to like it. I always like the customization. There you go. I like the customization of Android, and I'm glad that hopefully see a resurgence.
Apple started doing some customization too.
Yeah, but it ain't like back in the
it's
day.
not. I
using
used to jailbreak my Androids.
I'm using Go SMS, and you got all the different things coming in, the different backgrounds. It just was fun.
It was so fun. I would always change the theme, change the way my apps look, change just everything about the phone. And you couldn't do that with
I
Apple.
wish HTC was still around though.
Oh, my favorite. What was the last HTC I had was a Sensation.
What's that?
It was the touchscreen. I think the Sensation was my first touchscreen phone.
I had the
It was
Droid.
the HTC.
Last one was the Droid DNA.
I don't know that one.
Man, it was sleek, man. That thing was nice. Like I used to want to be like I used to watch a dude named Noah from Phone Dog back in the day. Noah. I used to watch Marquez back in the day and somebody else. I didn't know, like now I'm doing YouTube. I wanted to review the phones, but I didn't know how to do the stuff. I ain't had the money to get no phones. But I used to go to the Verizon store and like I knew the processors, I knew the screens. Them people didn't even know it. I was like, they should hire me.
You said, I know more than you.
They didn't. I was entrenched and I was like because we grew up through the blog era, so I used to follow blogs and they're talking about like back when the Androids was coming out, this the code name.
Yeah.
Hey, like, because I had an older cousin. He worked at the cell phone stores for a long time. So me and him would talk about it. It's like, hey, you see, this the new BlackBerry. Oh, I forgot I had the BlackBerry Storm, too.
Oh, the BlackBerry Storm. I had a BlackBerry Storm, too.
You're such millennials.
Man. Without the ball.
Man, I used to like the little click sound. But see, the first BlackBerry Storm was trash because you had to restart it like every day. It would freeze like every day. But I was like, I just was determined not to get an iPhone because I was like, bro, everybody got an iPhone.
Everybody got an iPhone.
I want to be
the same
different.
Way.
And I didn't see nothing special about it.
I didn't see nothing. Honestly, I looked at the iPhone was for dumb people. And it wasn't and this is when it came out because it was simple. It was basic.
Yeah.
You look at it. It was just blah.
Yeah.
And you couldn't do nothing. There was like no customization whatsoever. So that's why I was like, if you got an Apple, I just feel like you ain't smart enough. That's how it was.
For sure. I know I had a what else I had? I think my phones in high school. I had I used to have like this cheap Altel phone. It was like a Samsung whatever. It's a little flip phone.
Mm.
Then after that, no, before that I had a Go phone. Then I got this a phone on Altel. Then I moved to Verizon, and my phone was an LG Envy.
Oh, you had the Envy.
The Envy too. So like a calculator. And
Yeah.
I wish I had all these phones because like the Gen Z and the Gen Alphas be like, y'all was going crazy over there. I was like, man. I had a whole
the full keyboard.
I had a whole QWERTY on that thing.
What?
You couldn't really get pictures over like internet or nothing, but I don't know.
T9
like,
text when that came out.
hey, they don't know nothing about no T9. We have listen. Whenever I do my live, our live show, and everybody come, low key gonna have like a T9 competition.
I
Who
don't
know how
think
to text on
there's
T9?
no way. So when I was T9, we had Metro PCS at the time. So this is when Metro first came out, and their phones was unlimited talk and text when they first came out for $30. I believe it was $30 or $40, and it was unlimited talk and text. And back then.
You had to pay for text.
You had to pay.
They don't even know about paying for text.
And don't call me Pat before 7.
Call me after 9.
Man, those were the
Sneaking
days.
on your phone.
Nope. And then I used to get in trouble because I would always go over my text limit every single month. Every single month. They would have to increase it because I was just.
Yeah. I started off, I used to get like, y'all ain't gonna believe it, but I think I started with like 300 texts a month.
Me too.
Then I started going over that because I was like, oh, okay, everybody got a phone. Because contrary to popular belief, texting wasn't like that back then. Like, we used to actually talk on the phone. It wasn't texting. Then as the texting got more popular.
And because you was in school and all you could do is text. And then people stopped having landline house phones.
Yep. They didn't even look. Don't let you have dial up and your mama trying to use the phone and she's telling you to get off your MySpace page because I need to use the phone. So you gotta try to get on the internet where everybody sleep.
Shout out to MySpace because it taught me about coding. That's for sure. HTML was the first thing I learned how to do.
My little trick on MySpace used to be, all right, I'm going to go to the page. If it's taking a long time, I'm going to disconnect from the internet because it's going to load it up. And then plug the cord back in the back.
I love music.
What was a couple of your MySpace profile songs?
En Vogue, Don't Let Go.
You was going through something with your boyfriend?
No, that was just, okay. Because at the time, this is when Waiting to Excel came out. And I was like, that was the song for Waiting to Excel. That was that one. And then it was Mario. I had Mario for
Which one?
a minute. Let Me Love You. That was
Dirty Mac song.
hot minute. I was forever the R&B girl. Forever. Oh, and I did have, I don't know if you know this. Lil Wayne, it was on his mixtape, Prostitute Flange. I don't know if you know that song. But I had that for the longest.
I don't think I know that one because while I was driving here, Dick Pleaser came on.
Okay, yeah.
So I was just like, bro, I ain't heard this stuff in like the longest of times.
This mixtape Wayne, yeah.
I think I had for sure, I know what I wore out for a long time when it first dropped was My Love. My Love was like my song for sure, like that. I think I might have had Until the End of Time. I know for a fact I think I had Buy You a Drink.
Oh, of course.
I had a lot of stuff because that was my personality. Like my little playlist, you're gonna see what I like to listen to. I always, you know what's funny though? I actually always been more of a melody, feel good,
You pop,
R&B type of person.
R&B
like,
pop. Yeah.
like I mean, I like rap too because I didn't really start listening to rap until high school because I could actually decipher lyrics. I used to tell my little brother all the time, I'm like, bro, you don't even know what he's talking about. What are you listening to?
I've never been into rap like that. Only some artists. But yeah.
But see, like I ain't gonna lie.
I'm an R&B girl.
You know what's funny? When you kind of go back, if you really think about what whoever you was talking to or liking on back in, a lot of times they was throwing some Lil Wayne lyrics at you or something in the text or something. Like all the stuff, like I had some.
Is that what you used to
I had
do?
some nasty work. My work was even nastier. I would take because I knew I was one of the couple of black people. I grew up listening to NSYNC.
Mm-hmm.
I go find some niggas was NSYNC and them was singing about
Mm-hmm.
and put it in a text message. I was like, I know she don't know what this is. I'm finna kill him with this one. I was like, I look back on that and I was like, but that's
It wasn't
stupid.
even original.
It didn't matter.
Dang.
All I had to do was feel like it. Cause
You don't think about it. You don't think
I
about
mean,
it.
music is how a lot of people
Yeah.
express themselves like when they don't know what to
Mhm.
say. So I mean, I think like that's the good thing about it. But no, between that and then I don't know. Like I said, that's why I need to do like a whole nother show like millennial memories, like waking up before school if you had like cable and like for whatever reason, Frankie J with Baby Bash Obsession is on TV. Like you know how they be doing on TikTok,
The
like
music videos.
you getting ready for school and this banger was on.
Yeah. Or you get home from school and all the same shows was on. I remember I used to come home from school. I don't know if you used to watch this, but you remember Jackie Chan Adventures?
Oh yeah, bad day, bad day, bad day. Yeah, all
That
that
used to
stuff.
come on when I got off the bus. That was like the first thing that would come on the TV, and then it would be because Nick Jr. I think was still going on.
It would be
by that time until it swapped over to regular Nick.
We was watching that Shaolin Showdown.
Shaolin Showdown. Oh
By
my
the time I was getting home,
God.
Static Shock was still on TV.
Static Shock. Yep.
Superheroes. I actually want them to redo Static Shock.
I think they
Live
would
action.
actually live action. Yeah, I think Static Shock would be
But I
good
don't.
live
But
action.
see, I would have said Shamik Moore, but I think they can use old boy. They can do two people. They can do Caleb. What is his name? McLaughlin from Stranger Things.
I never watched Stranger Things.
It ain't one of my personal favorites either, so I'm not gonna kill you for it. Or they can use my guy from The Shy. He's pretty much kind of like he wasn't killed off, but he's off the show now. He played Kevin. He played the little brother of Keisha. I think he could play him. And it might be some other people, but you know them. They might try to go like light skin. If that's the case, use Jaden Smith. He could probably work. It got to be somebody funny though. Like he had his own type of Spider-Man type wit about him.
He had a personality for sure.
So like I don't know who they would use, but they got to find somebody. But now going back into some of these networking questions. Now I know you said like conversation was like night and day. When you say night and day, what you really mean by night and day? Because I think you did a how much I've been paid video before back in the day too.
Mm-hmm. So I would say when I was a network engineer and I wasn't working, this is me not working for like an ISP or anything like that. I don't have my CCIE. Like this is not top tier networking level.
Right.
But I would say when I got hired on, I got hired at 75, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I got hired on at 75K. And then, because I worked with there for a few years, I ended up at like 80 or something, like leaving at like 80. The amount of work
that you did for the 80. They got that 80K
for that.
out of you.
They got, and they bought out, we merged, right? Went from having, I don't know, 300 something locations to managing 300 something locations to managing over 800. And there's just two of us. 2 networking people. 2 systems, 2 networking, 1 cloud. And
What happened if both of y'all call out on the same day?
we couldn't.
But I'm saying if y'all did, like
If we did, man, I don't even know. We couldn't, though. It was so funny. So it was just the senior, and then there was me. And then, but one or the other called off. Like, there's just 2 people, but 2 people managing an entire network. And this is wireless. We used to have a phone guy, but that got swapped, and then it ended up falling under us for some reason. It was annoying. There was, obviously, we had just networking. We had to manage the circuits. We had the firewalls. We had to manage everything, literally. And we had everything at our data center. We had 3 data centers.
okay.
Oh, so we had 3 data centers at different locations. But for that pay, there's no way. And then we was on call as well, because there's only 2 of us. So we was always on call. Even though most places, we didn't have anything overseas or anything like that. Like Cali Pacific side was the latest that we had. that stayed out from Central. So there's that. But any other networking role comparative to, let's say, dev or cloud or security, if you look at the comparative role that equates to that, you, as a network engineer versus what would be comparative, just a standard cybersecurity engineer, right? In cybersecurity, the pay,
Yeah.
you were at least making 100K, at least over 95.
Yeah, just a regular security engineer, you probably getting 95,
That's what I'm
97.
saying. Like, but for, you should see the jobs that they're asking for network engineers are like 60K.
And listen, I got a hot take, and y'all will not believe that I'll say it. They job harder than mine. And that's facts. I always felt like networking was harder than what I do.
I will agree. Working with, the security, the people who did work the security team, looking at the stuff that they did versus the stuff that we did, I was like, for sure, it was more physically demanding,
Mm-hmm.
for sure. But I just, that's why I just think we're unappreciated and underpaid. For sure. Yeah, and just because, and that's why I wanted to leave. I don't want to leave networking. I like networking. But I had to think about my future. And honestly, I didn't want to go the CCIE route at all. And I was like, oh, well, where can I go? You got cloud networking, you got network security, you got different aspects of networking. But all the other aspects of networking make like double your pay if you were just a regular
Thanks.
working in a data center networking.
Did the day you decide to leave, what you listen to this?
No, actually, it was little Duval smile. I'm
Hold on.
living my best life. Actually, that was the song I listened to. Yes.
This you listen to when you put your 2 weeks in?
This was my military for sure song, and then it became whenever like a job, I'm like, no, I ain't going back to y'all. Like that's what it was, because they would try to keep you. They would try to keep
That's why you
me.
got to hit them with this right here.
Oh, yep, deuces.
That's we so old. We remember when this came out. I was in school when this came
Yep.
out. Oh man, no, that be though. At any job, you be like, hold on, what's that little meme? Not funny, ha ha, but funny, weird. You be like, I'm doing all this work and they getting paid this.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. Like when I work help desk, that's how I feel. I was like, we keeping the lights on.
Help desk is underpaid.
We are keeping the lights on, and these people is only doing one ticket a day.
Mm-hmm.
These people down here, they are getting bonuses in the company, and we're not getting Nathan.
So, help desk does a lot more work in the sense of tickets and handling end user support, things like that, for sure. And do I think they're underpaid? Yeah, I don't think help desk should be making $12 an hour.
No.
I don't think so. But that stuff, in the grand scheme of things, and like anything working like back end, is actually not that difficult, skills wise.
Yeah.
It's not that difficult. And it's not to shade anybody in help desk, because you have to learn that stuff to understand the more difficult things in the back end. But I think help desk in general is underpaid. I still can't believe help desk roles out here are going for $12 to $13 an hour.
Listen, that's call center.
That's
It's a call center for sure. Like I know us, I think I was getting like 19. It was supposed to be 20. And,
at least 20.
But the thing is, they told us all. Apex got us all. Apex said y'all come on for 6 months, and then y'all gonna be getting like 30 something in the 6 months. Quad is kept. They renegotiated the contract and nobody knew. So how it worked at CSC was it was like 3 groups. Well, at least I was part of group 3. There's the first group and second group that came in. So when it came for the first group to do their 6 months of convert, they all was doing different things. So we found out, okay, we've been deceived, we've been had.
Mm-hmm. You brought them up, and that's why I was like, oh my God. So I've worked a lot of contract roles. I would say I worked more contract than W-2. and or full time. And out of all the contracting companies that I worked for, Apex was the absolute worst company I have worked for. I hope they're better. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
I hope they are better.
Man, I was just like, bruh, like this.
Man,
I
they
ain't gonna lie.
screwed us over so bad.
My mood was like when I left help desk when I knew I was moving to Texas. Man, I started talking to customers any type of way.
Oh, me too.
I was like, "Psh, what
Oh,
you
I
gonna do?"
I stopped being fake when I knew I was fed up with it.
I did the same thing when I was working at Target. When I knew I was quitting Target, going to the help desk.
You didn't care.
Think about it. Y'all wanted me to go above and beyond for $7.75. $7.75. They wanted me to go above and beyond. I was dealing with a pregnant white woman, and she was mad she couldn't get someone on display. And I'm like, ma'am, the display is messed up. You can't get it. They don't want to be liable for anything happening to you and take the display. Well, where's your manager? I was like, you can go find him, but he's gonna tell you the same thing. And she got my name. I say, read it. Look, I'm gone.
I'm gone.
I don't know what you like looking at me like that for. And the man, I guess you was like her dad or something. He's older man. He said, I'm so sorry. I'm like, it's cool. It don't bother me. I'm gone. I'm like, they can stay here and deal with this, but for me, it's crazy. Now you can get above 15 an hour just working in the self checkout
Yeah.
thing at Target.
Yeah. Inflation though.
But
There's no way.
if you a college kid though,
something you can't even do anything with that.
But I'm saying if you're a college kid though, and you getting like 17 an hour, and you
that
getting a Pell Grant and some
Yeah.
other scholarships
Yeah.
at Target, or as they call it, Target, you straight.
I ain't shopped at Target in months.
Don't tell me Al Sharpton got you too.
What did Al Sharpton do?
They was rolling about the DEI stuff and all this other stuff.
No, I didn't. That wasn't the whole Al Sharpton. Fuck Al Sharpton. What did he do?
I thought he was the person that went and walked in Costco and said, "We gonna shop at Costco." I could be wrong.
If he did.
But they met with him because they've been trying to like.
No,
all right,
that was
I stink
recent.
again.
That was
This year.
That was this year. That was a couple weeks ago that he supposedly met with these people. But no, that wasn't the whole Al Sharpton thing. No, I just haven't shopped at Target because of, the whole thing that they decided to say no to. That I just don't understand why. Like, have a backbone. It's okay. It's okay. You know who surprised me?
Who?
Because I think didn't they? Was it Chase? It was because you used to work at Chase, right?
Yeah.
It was one of the banks, one of the financial institutions came back and was like, essentially, nah, we ain't doing that.
Probably J.P. Morgan. If it's gonna be
JP
anybody,
Morgan. Yeah, it was JP
If it's
Morgan.
gonna be J.P. Morgan, because if you
Yeah.
look up J.P. Morgan history, it's messed up.
Yeah, they came back and they're like, nah, we're not changing anything. And then they were the first ones to do it, and I was just surprised. I was like, damn.
Yeah, I mean, for most part, it was a good company. I just didn't like forcing people to come back into work. But it's always because the old people at the
RTO thing.
Like, I get it though. When you go, I don't know if you probably passed their campus in Plano. It's right by Legacy West.
Yeah.
Very nice. I'm talking about you can go eat there. They got daycare for your kids if you need it. I think you get like 10 free days to bring your kids to the daycare, and then after that you probably got to pay. But I was like, nah, for certain people like me, it ain't gonna work. But back in the day, before they was tracking how long you was like active at work, I probably was scanning out about 12, head back to home.
That's what they would do, like actually check in.
Yeah, because they wasn't checking how long you there. They just want to see you badge. Because we worked off of VDIs. So I was like, I ain't like I got to bring something like home. So I was like, cool. I know what my meeting is. As long as I'm home by this time, I'm good to go. So, So I had this thing right here talking about AI network security. Have you seen AI kind of not come for your job, but any enhancements or any products and network security that you could think of?
So I wouldn't say I haven't seen anything drastic outside of the normal, I would say, machine learning that's been in place that I've worked with when it comes to any type of automation. That's where it's been a thing. It's not like it's brand new, but it's new. I mean, AI is new in general.
Right.
But let me see. The most common that I've worked with when it comes to any type of, I guess, AI-ish is like SolarWinds.
Okay.
So, or handling, like their configuration manager. So, especially because we had hundreds and hundreds of devices. And, we had set up loading in all the configs and stuff. If we need to push out a configs to multiple devices at once, we would do it that way. It had status uptime, status updates. Like if it was reports, reports was like we didn't have to parse through and try to find something. That's what I have ran into personally when it comes to any type of using AI and stuff like that. Well, but it's pricey, so I think that's why I haven't ran into it much. At all, because it can get a little pricey.
I mean, think about it. They're using powerful computers to power the AI.
Yeah. And then you have to also tell it what to do. That's why I'm not, people seem to have this fear that AI is going to take their job. I don't really see that happening at least anytime soon. And
I think in some instances maybe because the AI agentic agents that some of the things have been built for us, like they can kind of like be autonomous.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're going to do a good job.
No, because at the end of the day, you still need human intervention when it comes to this stuff, because AI is biased to whomever.
Yeah, that's what we talked about last episode. Like, it's definitely biased. It
is biased.
It was like, don't tell ChatGPT you black. They could change all your answers up.
It is. So that's where it's so new. It's new when it comes to technology, and everybody's coming out with new ways to deal with AI. AI is getting better. It's improving. But do you want to have that be in charge of your most sensitive information?
That's the whole big thing. It's like, okay, well, what if wherever your LLM is connected to, it get hacked or something?
And it's also, because AI pulls data, from multiple sources. Let's say you're working in a position that you're dealing with a lot of sensitive information. And let's say you're a person of power, in a position of power in a company, but you have your sensitive data out there, and AI, somebody could just use it for nefarious reasons and find your sensitive information.
And then I was just thinking about how, let's say they're using all these different IP addresses, the subnets and all this, and that's why I always tell people on the horizon, one of the more important jobs that's going to be important is insider risk, because employees are stupid. They'll take sensitive information to put in their own chat GPT.
Yes.
So
Signal.
Samsung did it like 2 years ago. They was putting stuff in the chat GPT and they got caught. Like, these are the things that I see why people be weary of people like, working remote, but it's like, you got to be smarter than that.
It is. But people do, like you said, people do dumb stuff.
But the thing that companies can protect against, whether it be this, like Androids or iPhones, is, hey, I ain't got to copy and paste nothing. I just take a picture of the screen and then copy it from my phone. That's the one thing they don't have an answer for.
I can see that.
And that's why I'll be saying, as much as I love new iterations of technology, I always see the con in it, just because now I'm cynical and I always see how somebody can use something maliciously.
Yeah. But I feel as though working in IT in general, you have a more cynical view.
I agree.
Because look at what you deal with. And working, sometimes you see what people do on their work computers. And you're just like,
why are you looking at this?
Why are you doing this? Because you realize we see what you're doing. Everything. I don't think people understand. Anything that you type, any website you go to, there is no such thing as incognito.
Right.
There is no such thing as using your VPN. There is nothing that you do on your work computer that we don't know
your
about.
footprint is all there. Like,
yes.
We was working on, Zscaler blocked the download or something, but we were trying to just verify if the person actually searched for this thing to download it. Clear enough, I just do a slight query to look for a wildcard it, and then I throw Google in there. Clear as day. Person typed in the search in Google. I was like, you're not supposed to do that. Go to the help desk. If you need anything that you need to install to make sure it's approved, just go to the help desk. That's what they're for. They got a whole thing that they sandbox and test these things out to do it. But no, they don't know. I remember when I went to like my internal company conference like a couple years ago. I told them, I was trying to explain to them what I did. I say, listen, I'm just gonna tell you this. Anything you don't want us to see, don't type it. Don't say nothing. Don't tell nobody, hey, look at your phone. Don't say none of that. Like, hit people on the side if you want something to say. Like, you might as well not even write it down. You just never know, somebody take a picture of whatever you said. It's crazy out here, the things that people do.
Yes. And you peep it all.
Facts. So, now back into some other hot takes, right? Let's see if you're going to get canceled for these. All right, so we got which one? And I'm not in depth of like the different devices and hardwares that these companies have, so you can state your claim for whatever one you pick. And I might be missing. Oh, I got some. I'm gonna throw one in the phrase just because. But Cisco, Juniper, Fortinet, Checkpoint, or Palo Alto.
And this is where it depends on does it matter what?
It's whatever you prefer.
Is it in what though?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying whatever you use.
So, I have worked with Cisco's, Junipers, Fortinets, Palos. I haven't worked with Checkpoints, so I can't really speak to that. The and I've never worked in a position where all of one specific vendor has been used. So it's never been all Cisco.
I've never seen that either.
It's
always
usually
been mixed.
Especially when it comes to firewalls. I think I've seen it one time where Cisco routers, Cisco switches, Cisco ASAs, but it wasn't used as a firewall. It was used for VPN only, and Palo for firewall, which is very interesting when you think about it. But then you also have Juniper. I've had Juniper for their networking equipment, Palo for firewall. Most of the firewalls I've worked on have been Palo. Fortinet, I think Fortinet slept on. That's personally, Fortinet is slept on, but I think their marketing has been kind of like, and I think that's why.
Maybe need to be a developer advocate for Fortinet.
Yeah, Fortinet's actually real good, and they also, I think they catered more towards smaller to mid-size companies, and that's where I think they thrived because it's cost and very user-friendly. But I had nothing against Fortinet whatsoever, and it can handle large-scale enterprise environments for sure. But I'm going to be biased. I guess I'm going to say Cisco and Palo is probably where I'm at, and it's just because that's mostly what I worked with.
Okay.
But definitely I would say Palo for firewalls, and, well, no, Juniper firewalls, I like them too. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Okay.
It's hard to say.
All right. What about this one? Certs will automatically get you a job.
Who said that?
We've been on Twitter.
Who said that?
We've been on X.
What? What?
All you need is the trifecta.
What? Yeah. Lord. No, I don't know who. Whoever says that is lying. No, certs will not get you a job. Point blank, period.
I don't even think they give people interviews
no more. Like, depending on the certification you have, but some certifications you got to have experience to get anyway. So, yes. So, I'm assuming they're talking about entry-level certifications. No. Certifications have always been, and I think will continue to be, a supplement to what you already know and your knowledge and experience.
Agreed. I'd only say I would get a cert to enhance like what I do on my day-to-day.
Definitely.
To help me out with that. Okay, technically we already talked about this earlier, so I don't know why I technically got it twice. So I'm not going to ask that. Okay, I know what you're going to pick for this one. Xbox versus PS5.
PS5.
I'm going to Xbox.
You go at Xbox. I'm PlayStation girl. I am a girly. PlayStation 2, PlayStation 2, 3, 4, 5. If they come out with 6, 7, 8, 9, I'm probably going to be it too.
I just liked how Microsoft has adopted the cloud. And how now they're like, you can get our games on Steam or whatever, like get our games everywhere. So they're kind of like moving into that range. Like eventually there will be no more consoles.
Game Pass is pretty cool, you know.
That's how I played South of Midnight.
Yeah.
I'm replaying it now.
So pros I guess I don't know.
I like
Okay.
it. I'm good for them
I
stories.
know a lot of people like Xbox because of the controller, how the joy,
It fit right in
the
your hand.
sticks are better. I don't know. The PlayStation controller fits better
I
for
personally
me.
think once if PlayStation never has any more exclusives,
But I heard they're not. I heard they're stopping
yeah,
exclusives outside of I think their usuals.
because that's pretty much kind of what propelled them. The God of Wars,
Gotta, but they're
the
so
Uncharted's.
good. It's
You know what I want to
so
play?
good.
I'm ready for another because I mentioned that earlier when you and Kirsten talking about the drones. I'm ready for another Splinter Cell.
What was the last Splinter Cell?
Conviction, I think.
What year was that?
Like 2011, 2012.
That was what, PS3?
PS4.
Four.
Four, because it's on
Four.
360 and it was
Okay.
on PS4.
Okay.
So it went in Xbox One.
Jeez, I haven't seen a Splinter Cell in
You can go back and play them like on Steam and stuff. Like
Oh,
I got
okay,
it on
okay. Yeah.
my game computer. So I actually, they had this running joke on TikTok and they was like, Louisiana beats sound like spy missions. So you go back and
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
so when you listen
on
to the beats, they do
TikTok,
sound like some
yeah.
spy missions. So I had went back and added 400 degrees to my Splinter Cell gameplay that I had on my thing for a while. But nah, I like stealth games.
Me too.
I like stealth games a lot.
Yeah, I love stealth games.
But I also don't like the game to take a long time. Like if I don't have a lot of time, like with having kids, I don't got all
you
day
don't
to
got
play.
the time, the hours.
I don't got all day to play
hours,
Hitman like I used to.
Hours.
Because Hitman, you gotta definitely wait it out to what's called people. But it could be fun.
It could be.
But it also could be boring too because you gotta observe
I
what they
don't know.
do
I
and
like
everything
I
else.
like stealth games. Those are my favorites. And RPGs. Yeah.
I'm not really, you know what? I'm not the biggest RPG guy. I'm more of a if it's gonna be an RPG, it gotta be action based. It can't be turn based.
Yeah. I think the turn based depends. I'm more of an action, I would say, based.
Because I would say my
RPG.
last.
I love open worlds.
Have you played Near Automata? Near Automata will probably be one of the most beautiful games you ever play.
Really?
They actually had an anime adaptation to it too. It's on Crunchyroll.
Wow.
It's like the most complex, like beautiful game ever. Because you think it's one thing, then you find out you die. Like you pretty much play as these different characters. Every time you beat it and something happens, you reawaken to play as a different character for X amount until you kind of finish like the whole story. It's pretty good. I like I said, I played on Game Pass years ago, about 5 years ago, and I was like, man, it got to me so like I would like listen to some of the songs from it because it's like it's really good. So if you was to ever just type in on YouTube, hey, tell me about Near Automata, you like it. That and Darksiders.
Oh, Darksiders. Yep.
I love
played Darksiders.
Darksiders 2 like my favorite.
Darksiders is a good game. Good game.
And I like Remedy. Have you ever played Control?
Oh, with the robot looking thing on the front?
She is.
Oh, I might
So
be
technically, it's like
thinking
the FBI,
Portal.
but
Oh,
it's
I thought of
called
Portal.
the Federal Bureau of Control.
Okay.
And she gets these powers, and she can control stuff. And she's trying to figure out what happened to her brother from this kid. They had these things called, I forgot exactly what they're called, like events or something like that. But the story is so good. It's like an action-packed thriller. It's really cool. It's the same. I don't know if you heard of Alan Wake.
Yeah.
It's in the same universe as Alan Wake.
Okay.
Same game maker, so that's good. And I tried to go back and replay. Not replay. I tried to play Resident Evil. What is
Nope.
it? 2?
Nope.
Hey, I got mad, bro. Cause I'm like, I'm doing something. The Man in Black came out of nowhere. I'm like, all
can't.
right, I'm out.
Resident Evil ruined. Absolutely ruined zombie anything. So I'm a chicken. Like I don't like horror games. I don't like scary movies. I don't like none of that. And I blame my cousin. This is Resident Evil, the first one and 2. That he had me play. This is when Resident Evil was zombies.
Yeah.
Before they became all terrified me. I hate anything zombies. I will scream. I will holler. I will do everything. And I blame
know how to get
Resident
you.
Evil because I was so young. Traumatized me.
Yeah, I know. I was like the big Man in Black dude. I was like, oh yeah, if you can't even kill this dude, I'm like, I'm good. I'm at the point now, bro. I just look up the story on YouTube. Y'all got it. I'm taking my ball and go home.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about games right now. Okay. Now we talked about this a little bit, but this will probably be a good segment just for a clip. Why isn't networking talked about like cyber?
I wish I honestly
Is it
knew.
because people think it's easier?
I don't think. I I always say networking just ain't as sexy. And it's not. I think most people don't know what it is. And I think that's what it boils down to. And there's not as many people. Networking as a whole is actually pretty small comparative to security, cybersecurity.
Yeah.
And the amount of people that work in it, since it is such a small field, I don't think you don't even think about it. In college, there was one course that was about networking, and it wasn't just networking focused.
Really?
It was overall like PC focused, with a smidge of networking. But that's like all it was. But I had more security and like cybersecurity courses than I did with networking. I just honestly think it's because people don't know what networking really is. That's what I think about it.
Yeah.
Most of the time, I can't tell someone, a regular person, and be like, oh, I work networking. I never could, because they're like,
you couldn't explain to them like that's a 5-year-old.
No, the only way I always tell people I work on computers. I really don't. I don't know anything about PCs in that aspect. Don't ask me to fix your PC.
But you know what's funny though? Anytime you tell somebody you're in IT or something like that, you automatically the PC technician.
You automatically.
My auntie, hey, my computer is doing this.
But that's all you can say, because you can't tell them what you really know.
I'll come look at it.
I'm going to Google it.
It's easy for me to explain my job, because I say, hey, police officers, firemen, detectives. I was like, that's my job, just on the digital side.
And honestly, I tell people, it's like, oh, I set up the internet. That's the bare bones, kind of dumb it down way. Oh, I help you get internet.
Yeah, like AT&T coming to your house and set it up. You just do it for the.
That's the easiest way that I would say. But I think it's just not. It's so small, and it's just not talked about enough. People just don't know what it is. That's my view on it.
Now I don't know. Do you have your Security Plus? Mm-hmm. Security Plus, hard or easy?
I remember you bringing this up. It is not hard. I do not see. Now, wait a minute. I had my Security Plus in 2012.
Mine 2013. I ain't tried to take it again since.
I never took it again. Is it a test that I would want to take again? No, it's not. I would never want to take that test again, which is why I just...
Mm-hmm. I took one that's harder, though.
Yeah.
The CISA Plus is harder than Security Plus.
It wasn't difficult. And I had to get they gave us 2 weeks. If we didn't pass Security Plus, they gave us like a crash course of running through the freaking book in 2 weeks. And if we didn't pass it in 2 weeks, we couldn't graduate from tech school. So it was mandatory. But you could get it in 2 weeks. I don't suggest you get it in 2 weeks.
I finished the book in like 2 weeks, and I ain't really know much, but I was like, cool. As long as I'm getting 90-something on the test, I'm good. And that's why, like, me and a follower, we kind of, we went real back and forth. I think she was not. A lot of times people think when I'm coming in is what I'm saying. I'm like, I'm actually telling you based off of 5 years of talking to all these different people with these certifications, and why I'm saying it's easy because these are people with no background passing it.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm coming from that
standpoint.
But
it's not technical. It's not, you read it, you take some practice questions. It's memorizing, honestly. That's
they
why
got a couple
it's
of
not,
like performance-based questions, but
yeah, but it's not.
I got all them wrong and still passed.
I passed with a 812?
See, that's higher than mine. I think I had 7. What if it was needed 750?
I think it fit 750 to pass.
I had put like 780 or something like that.
But never mind. I ain't gonna say what it was. We in tech school we had.
Y'all was helping each other out.
Yeah, we had the answers. We had dumps.
We had dumps too.
Yeah,
I had
and
dumps.
That's what I would I have passed it just because we only had a few hours a day to do it. Would I have passed it? Probably not. If it wasn't for those dumps.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's what I tell people. I said, I'm for people getting them. I was like, I just want you to know it don't mean much.
It don't. I don't think so. Security Plus is a useful certification, especially if you're trying to be in like GovTech. You need it. It's kind of what it is. Do I think you will use the information that you learn from Security Plus in all of you probably won't remember anything that you even read. So no, I don't think it's I don't think it's hard. So yeah, I guess that is a hot take. And this is not shading. I know people are bad at taking tests. That's not what this is. Like, I know every test is hard for you if you're bad at taking tests. But as a test as a whole, no, I have taken harder.
Yeah, and the secret to passing the test is just study the stuff you don't know.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Select the best answer.
I got a good one for y'all. Network Plus or CCNA?
CCNA.
Really?
Yes.
I'm agreeing with you though.
Oh, okay.
Because
yes,
we tell people you don't need Network Plus, and we were saying you don't need the Network Plus don't mean it's not okay to know the stuff in Network Plus. But CCNA definitely hold more weight.
CCNA holds more weight, for sure. CCNA opened more doors for me than any certification that I ever had. Once I had, like, when I had my CCNA, I was getting calls, like actual interviews versus not having it. It actually opens a lot of doors. And the information that you get, and it's not, and people, I think, get caught up on the Cisco name of it, but that doesn't matter. The information that you get in the CCNA is not just Cisco specific overall. It's everything. It's everything. And honestly, CCNA or the JNICA or CIA, whatever, Juniper's equivalent, same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah. What else? Are there any other
like
this Palo Alto? I say Palo Alto. Palo Alto. Do they have any like entry level certs?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, they got entry level certs, but it's not. The information that you have is not detailed enough for networking as a whole. Any type of like Palo Alto cert is supplemental to your networking knowledge, because you won't really understand all the material without having some type of networking background. Because at the end of the day, what's firewalls are networking.
Yeah. Ooh, I got one. This is, it's not a hot take, but I thought it'd be funny to spring this on you. Now you can plead the fifth if you want to. How would you explain Subnetting to a fifth grader?
How would I explain it to a fifth grader?
Just like in as much layman terms as possible, like the goal of it, and or what is it?
Ooh, well, what is it? Well, see, that's where I am not the subnetter queen. I use a calculator.
Hey
But
Siri, call JB.
Yeah. Oh, that he explains it so well. Like, he got subnetted down to a T. Do not ask me anything that's not like a /24 or 32, because that's easy. You know what I'm saying? Who don't know?
I still ain't got it down.
But it's essentially everybody has an IP address, right? Or requires an IP address to function or connect to the network of some sort. That is I don't know what you would call it. Not your name, because that's your MAC, but it's where you are, your innards, I guess. And
do you watch mediocre tutorials and reviews?
No.
Okay.
Is it the same thing?
He says stuff like viscous innards. So that's what that reminded me of.
All the innards, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like there's however many people or devices that require an IP address, you would segment, which is not a fifth grade term. See, that's why it's so
It means like separating those segments. Separate.
You separate it based off of how many IP addresses do you require. You don't want to have too much left over, but then you need enough as well. Yeah. Are you and then it starts getting a little bit more complicated after that. Is it dynamic? Is it static? Is it what?
See, there you go. So let me tell you, my simple brain thought of when you said, everybody connect and talk to each other in a network or whatever.
You need like a phone number.
Would this kind of correlate to being like, let's say you got an apartment complex, everybody in the same apartment complex, but they got different apartment numbers?
Correct. Yeah.
Like,
that's a good way to put it.
That's what I'm thinking about. I was like, how do we simplify this?
Yeah.
And I only asked you something like that because when I interviewed for Microsoft years ago, they had a question they asked me, say, hey, how would I explain the internet to like a 3-year-old?
I hate those questions.
But my answer would say, because I thought about it at the time, I had like 2 and 3-year-olds.
Yeah.
I was like, I would say, hey, the internet is like a library full of a lot of books. And in order to get what you want to see, you go select the book from the thing and read it. And the guy was like, yo, that's like the first time I ever heard the answer. Because I'm all about not complicating stuff.
I had a similar interview question, but it wasn't the internet. It was, explain to me, you have a like an unsharpened pencil. Explain to me how you would get this pencil to be sharpened step by step as if I was 5 years old. That I got that question on the interview before.
Yeah, because they're trying to see you.
Your thought process on how you think. It was like you're troubleshooting essentially.
Yeah.
This pencil's broken. How will you sharpen it again? Ugh.
Because I can keep it. Because, like, it's really simple. Hey, I just put in my pencil sharpener.
But they don't want to see that. They don't want to hear that. They want
make
to
sure
hear,
I turn it right so I can keep
yeah,
sharpening.
they want to hear like your entire. I was told that question was used to see how you troubleshoot. Like, how does your mind work when you're asking questions, troubleshooting, all this other stuff? Well, how did it happen? How long or how pointy or, like, how did it break before? Were you pushing too hard? Is this pencil bad? Is it just, like, it was just, I was like, oh, this is so silly. It was always just so silly.
Okay. Newbies should be in office, not remote.
Yes. I don't think if you are new to IT, you shouldn't be remote.
They're going to kill you for that. Why should they?
Why should they?
I'm just messing with you. I know why. I have an idea.
You learn soft skills and you learn. So obviously you need soft skills if you're going to be working at IT because you need to learn how to talk to people some type of way. You don't need to be the most, I have to talk like X, Y, Z, but you need to know how to talk to people. You will be dealing with end users in all aspects of it. You're going to be talking to somebody. But you also have people next to you as you're learning. You can reach over and be like, hey, I don't know how to do this. Or somebody's doing something right next to you. Hey, can you show me how to do this? It makes it so easy. You could physically, especially if you're dealing with equipment, you have equipment there to work on. You don't have that at home. You have a lot more distractions at home than you do in office. And
True.
You can't learn.
Look, you sound like a boomer.
But and I don't see myself going back into office, but I've been working remote for a hot minute. That my routine and everything that I have set, it would throw me. I don't even have clothes to go back into an office. Don't ask me. I do not want to buy office clothes whatsoever. But no, I think you are new. You're a newbie. Do not be hung up on having a remote job. You can do pretty much every IT role can be remote.
Facts.
It pretty much. Yes.
You know what I want to
hate when people hate the saying, getting it out the mud. But I feel like you got to.
A lot of people don't even have enough cachet to want to be remote. I hate when I see a person with no experience. I'm only open to
No.
Be open to stuff that's right by you.
Everything.
Now, unless you got a serious, you can't walk or you got a disability, by all means, I understand. But if not, take what you can get.
Yes,
literally.
Take what you can get.
Like, worry about the rest later.
The good thing about it is that, well, at least in our field of work, take what you can get because you only need a few months of experience.
Yeah.
And leave and get a higher pay. You can double your income after 6 months of working in a help desk if you want to. I give it a year. Work a year in help desk. Learn everything that you can. But 6 months to a year in help desk, get another role, and you'll make double what you're making. And go from there. But no, I don't.
And you said that, look what I thought about.
Delhi. That's that Delhi shit.
That's what I thought about. I think that's what Houston.
Is it?
Yeah, it's Beat King.
Okay.
He died.
He did die. That whole Texas.
That'd be fun if I could really start the pot off with something like this. They'd be like, hold on,
this
what?
This is a nasty song.
I'm like, turn up. I'm like, let me turn into this.
Most people probably don't even know this song. Get that bread, get that head. Then leave. I love the peace out.
Club God. This make you want to have speakers in
I
your car.
know, just start bumping.
Whoever's still in there, like, what they listening to?
I have no nut.
Man, I don't know. Ain't nothing like some good down south music. But no, that's what I thought about. You talk about it didn't leave. I'm like, hey, for sure. Because I be telling people like, man, just get your experience and we'll double it. And that's what we do. Like for a lot of people.
Job hop.
Facts. I'm like, this is the only field where you can go work somewhere 6 months and then go double your salary somewhere.
And honestly, people say, "Oh, you interview. They look at you being at a job for 6 months." And I was like, "No, because it's so common.
It's coming, so and like people know when you're starting up. Like it don't matter now.
You gonna bounce.
Some of the places with that culture where they want people to stay, it look at it a little different. Well, hey, they see that you stayed there a year and this and that. I'm like, well, hey, that was different. I always say, if you look at this job right here, I was almost there 4 years, and I was like, I only left because I brought another child in the world, and I got an offer I couldn't refuse. And they be like, you know what? I ain't even mad at the fam. Because I'm like, that company not finna give you that. I forgot how much my raise was from going from Opta to G Goldman Sachs. But I was like, they internally they can't give me that. I gotta leave and come back in order to get that. So I was like, but I ain't saying no names. You said you got the coolest story for I ain't saying no names.
I ain't gonna say the coolest. Nah, it was
or
weird.
The best.
It was weird. But I got the best story to say about this. Because I ain't gonna say no names. So, and this goes with being a woman in this space, and you have to deal with odd men. I'm going to just call him, he was odd. That's all I'm going to say. But I was new. I was new. I was a newbie. And we all went out, to dinner, right? And this is just kind of the culture of overseas in the military. But, it's IT, general, this role, this is what they did. And so we went out to this restaurant, and everybody, people drinking. It was chill. Again, I don't know anybody here. I just got here, so I'm new. And it was one of the sergeants, I would say, which there was many. So we'll just say that. And who, was at the table, and he was like, oh, do you want, would you like a lemon drop? Right? They were doing lemon drop shots at the table. And I was like, no, that's okay. I don't want a lemon drop. He's like, no. You should have a lemon drop. I was like, no, thank you. I really don't want a lemon drop. And he was very creepy in general to anyone. If you had a vagina, he was on you. Like, it didn't even matter. It didn't matter how you looked. Pregnant, not pregnant, it didn't matter. He was one of them.
If it had a split here.
Yeah, and he had, I'm not going to describe him. But so he came out, the waitress, everybody comes out to the table, and I'm minding my business, just listening to people talk. Like, she's getting the order, and he reaches over and points. And, he's doing the order. He's like, and a lemon drop for the lady. I'll never forget that day. But the way everybody just started, like,
looking at him,
like, laughing. And, my manager, my supervisor at the time, he stepped in and he laughed at. He's like, nah, she said no, and all this whole bunch of stuff. But it was like they clowned him so hard. But it was so bad. Like, when you used to leave your unit or whatever, you would get, like a plaque, right? And it would have like your nickname or something funny.
Was it said one for the lady?
Whatever. It had lemon drop on it. And I remember when I got it, I said, because your supervisors are the ones that make it for you. And they handed it to me and it said lemon drop. I said, oh, I hate y'all so much. Because I was weirded out. That's creepy. And, at the time I was 19, 20?
Yeah.
And this man is like 30s. You know what
At
I'm
least he
saying?
won 50.
Oh my God. I was like, please stop. Like, you're creeping me out right now. And I'm new. Oh, and then I learned that he does that a lot. He was very weird and uncomfortable. But I was, let me drop for the lady.
I ain't gonna lie, they've been this thing on Facebook. They've been asking about like what's the professions that's like I think like a turnoff or something like that. And I wanted to repost it and say military for sure. Cause
They ain't shit.
I done seen too much with them Air Force people.
They ain't shit. Military people ain't shit.
I feel like it's just like a big college when it comes to people
It
being in the
is.
military.
It is.
I've only seen a
It's
couple
fun.
people. I've seen only a couple people find like real love. Like, I didn't know they came up there.
Oh.
Oh well, I ain't got the remote, but
Yeah, like everybody gets married and divorced. You can't be in the military unless you get
oh yeah,
divorced.
you got to get that extra money.
Hey, I'm one of them.
Stay out base.
Well, nah, I married mill to mill, so I ain't getting no extra money.
But what I was gonna say, that's pretty funny though. With the guy, what was his name? What was his nickname? Not his name, but like on his plaque, did he have something like?
Oh, I don't
one for the
know.
lady?
He was still there when I left.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know what his plaque is. But you know what? It's hard to. He had a lot of interesting moments. So
It'd be like that though. You know
he
what I'm
left
saying?
an impression. I will say that. I'll never forget his name.
Yeah, he probably feel bad. Well, not bad, but like
No,
embarrassed.
He don't. I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't. He did it all the time. I doubt it.
Bet. Well, real quick, what's next for Certified Curls? I know like you be going in and out of like creating content, and you was like on a crazy trajectory at first.
I was.
Like, you was killing it.
I was doing real good, and then I got burnt out. I think it's very easy when you're like constant with it to get burnt out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not someone that I would say it takes anything social media related seriously. I never did. But I also didn't start doing public social media until I was much older.
Mhm.
I would never have done this as like a teenager
Oh,
or
yeah.
something. I don't think I would have the mental
I still
just
don't.
stability to deal with it. But as far as what's I've been posting randomly, sporadically about anything. I feel like, to be honest, because I don't look at it as a job. I didn't even know you could get paid for it when I started it. I did it because I was bored
Yeah.
and I wanted a creative outlet for myself.
And you started getting them brands knocking at your door.
I'm not really knocking, no. I had small ones, but I never did. So I had CompTIA, the one that was like an Instagram one.
Mm-hmm. And you didn't have to make a video for that one.
I did, and it did really well. It did numbers. I was like hype. And it was, and then I think I had one more after that, and then I just stopped posting, and I don't know, no, because I talked to some brands, and they wanted some stuff, I don't know, and not
Yeah.
and I was just like, oh, I don't want to say that, I don't know, you
Yeah.
know, and I could say no. I think you worked with a company
Which
that
one?
I don't know, do you want to say company names? It was
You know, I don't care.
The company, the one that did that sandbox thing.
Oh, Square X.
Yeah, was it Square X? Yeah, they tried to work with me, and you know, we went through the whole thing, and they wanted, you know, they were gonna pay a rate and everything, but they wanted a dedicated video, and I told them, I was like, nah, I don't do dedicated videos, and they were like, well, you know, we would really want, just let us know if you ever want to do it out, and like they were really trying to
Yeah,
push
I be
to
reaching
do
back out to them. I was
dedicated.
like, honestly, that video didn't do the best. One,
Mm-hmm.
I got to change the thumbnail, but I was like, it wasn't a lot of incentive outside of getting paid for it. Like, it wasn't like, hey, we're gonna track how many people you bought or whatever. Yada,
Yeah.
yada. So it wasn't a lot.
It was just a flat.
I
yeah.
actually had forgot about it. I started making it through Loom and just started updating different parts in the video. But I like
Yeah.
the product. I still use it though.
Yeah, I
I use that
haven't.
disposable browser all the time.
It wasn't like the product itself. I didn't see anything wrong with it. I just didn't do it, you know, and I was just like, because dedicated videos in general don't do well, to begin with.
And like they
And
only work like if it's in your niche and like you really get it. Like, see, I did the editing. If I wanted to, if I would have gave it to an editor, then I think it could have been better. And I didn't really have it like scripted out the best. But that's like the thing you run into with like doing content. It is a lot, but like for me, like I tell people, like when I first started 2020, I was recording something new like every week. Like now when I do it, I'm doing content, but it's different because it's already scheduled out. And I got some like, if I didn't want to drop this next week, I can go edit the other one and drop that if I want to. So I always got to sit some on.
You always got something.
Like that's what make podding easier because I don't have to script it out. But now I got some content that I got to make. That's gonna have to be scripted out because I got to be effective and get the right customer to me. But that's not too hard because I've been doing it for a while. Like once I did that LinkedIn Learning course, I learned how to script. I learned how to make content professionally, and that's the whole reason why I did the course. I used it as pretty much an internship.
Yeah, that's good.
You know what? You should do one on network security. I'm gonna tell them.
Nah.
They'll give you a good advance.
Nah. No. I'm always one to be like, I don't teach. I don't know. I'm not the one.
You know, it's funny. You get paid more to teach for whatever reason.
Really?
Yeah, because you can charge what you want to.
Yeah, I can see that happening. Yeah, but
you could be the new network Lease. You heard of network Chuck? Well, this is network Lease.
No.
I think he probably got like 1 million subs now or something.
I don't know.
But nah, funny enough though, like I really be wanting to do my podcast like other podcasts. Like I low key want to name this podcast. As you was talking, I said, bro, I should name this One for the Lady.
This
like they'll be like, bro, what is this? What are they talking about? One for the Lady? Like, but I don't know. I kind of want to play around with the name and see what that would do because
lemon drop for the lady.
I feel like it didn't have that part come in. They were like, what are they talking about? Like, what type of podcast is this? But no, but I know like you were trying to figure out like what else you want to do. Did you want to quit? Did you want to start something else? Like I got some other channels I'm actually gonna make, but they're gonna be different. Like people like the panels, but I think I'm gonna dedicate the panels to like its own channel.
Its own thing.
Yeah, so I'll get a dedicated people whoever really want to be a part of that and do that like once a week. It's easy to do.
And I think my biggest thing is, I think just how I am. This is not something I would ever want to do full time. I never had an interest for it. Kudos to people who want to do this full time. It is not me. I do not want this.
Really?
At all. First of all, you know the people on the internet crazy. They crazy.
But you from Florida.
And they're
crazy definitely too. Crazy.
And I know that makes me want to not be around the crazy. But you know, my personality, I know my personality. I wouldn't call myself like anal about stuff, but I don't like the unknown. I don't like, surprises.
You have to be over control of stuff.
Yes. So like I know how much I'm gonna get paid because I budget. Like every paycheck, I know where my money's going, how it's going, when it's coming out, health insurance. Like I have everything.
Yeah. For sure.
I have control over. Now I know, what I'm getting, and because, content creation, it's so up and down, and then at the end of the day, you don't have your own platform, for example.
Yeah.
So let's say something happened, like YouTube. YouTube could all of a sudden stop pushing out your videos. Could all of a sudden just say,
it's been doing that for me.
It's like because you don't have a boss, but your
so that's why a while back I whereas you saying that, like I've always got in trouble for talking a lot. Always. So like before even making this type of content, I used to make boxing content. So I always felt like, because a lot of people say, man, I don't know how you do it. This just seemed like something I'm supposed to do. And then I'll never get like, why am I still doing it? Like every time, I kid you not, like this will probably be episode like 172 or 171, depending on when I put it out. Every night before I know I'm finna pod, I'm excited. So like
you actually get
I'm ready. Like I'm like I really want to come up here and say, yo, hey, we back. Like I be want to turn up like that because of course like I am heavily inspired by Joe Budden, But it's something like I could do, and I learned a long time ago. Like, hey, I need to own my audience. So like, I got a mailing list, and then of course, like it funnels into the business and all these other things. So I've like really studied the creators that's been doing this 10 plus years and how they've done it. That's why shout out join the Discord. I got the Discord going on, and that's the way. Like if you can find the people that support you, and you've been helpful for them, it don't matter. Because I've had people that's booked with me like, yo, I'm finna buy a service because you didn't gave me so much free. You didn't gave me so much free game. I feel like I just got to buy something. So I've had that, but it has its ebbs and flows. But I don't know. I think it's pretty cool because you can do that. Then you can leverage it into
Oh yeah.
other stuff. Like I definitely
You
want
funnel it to.
I definitely want to roll
everything.
where I'm at a company where I could be an advocate, like a cybersecurity advocate, where like I can just go talk because like that's easy.
Yeah.
Like I've built that skill set over the last 5 years.
And that, but then you can use, so adding that to your resume would be beneficial for you to travel to different places, maybe schools,
yeah.
high schools, colleges.
One of the things Destiny and I was
that.
talking about was like, hey, why we don't apply to go to conferences as like a media company
Yeah.
and see what we can get out of it?
Yeah.
Because I was like, so that's something we're gonna do, but I want to go to the actual like vendor ones, not like. I mean, I wouldn't mind if like Afrotech pay for me to come, but like I want to apply to SplunkConf as a media company, see what they'll pay for, see which one of them needs some brand ambassadors.
Yeah.
Like Hacker Valley, they work with all these different security companies. Like, we right here, we got y'all. So I don't know. I think end goal maybe it's not nothing like soon because like for me, look, I got a family, benefits,
You got to think about
benefits. Like
benefits is hard to give up.
listen, I'll be to the point where I be telling the companies the salary may not be everything I want, but like, hey, what the benefits looking like?
Good.
How much y'all pay of it?
Yeah.
Because like if y'all pay for all the benefits, I'm straight. Because
That's what my company does. I don't pay for nothing.
man, benefits for me is like what 11 to 100 a month probably just for medical. That's not including all the other stuff. So I was like, bro.
Yeah, I got lucky because I don't pay. Well, they pay for medical, so like I don't pay for medical. I don't pay for dental. I don't pay for vision. Like they pay all that.
Yeah.
And the only thing you pay for, like if you have like family and stuff, then you'll pay for.
Yeah, but it probably won't
that
be
stuff.
as high as like
It's not as
else,
high.
No, I'm with all that because I'm just like, hey, I'm like a real parent now. That's stuff I like. Oh, how many PTO
You got to
days?
think about, yeah.
Oh yeah, like that's what I was grateful. Like this company right here, I had when my son was born, I had 3 months off.
And not every company does that.
Goldman Sachs give you 6 months.
Dang.
You can get a whole new job and then quit and come back. For real, man. But at least tell everybody where they can follow you at.
Oh.
Even though she's kind of like a recluse at times.
I am. But it is Certified Curls on YouTube, and I got rid of my IG. So I have a personal IG that I post on, and it's I am Lise, with 2 E's, I believe, at the end. I have a TikTok, but it's nothing. I'm not even gonna. It's Certified Curls on TikTok too, but I don't really post on it for real. That's just YouTube. Certified Curls on YouTube, and I am Lise on IG.
Bet, and y'all already know where y'all can find me at, guys. This has been another insightful episode of TechTual Talk. I hope y'all enjoyed it. And yeah, send us more questions to answer. Leave us a voicemail. And we got something big coming up for y'all soon. We got an in-person live event. It ain't scheduled yet, but y'all gonna definitely want to make your way down to Dallas to come. But until next time, let's stay textual, and we out. Peace.